Afternoon, welcome to my channel. This is going to be a reading for Cancer, Sun, Moon and Rising. It's a general reading, so I can't right at this second tell you what the reading will be about until the cards hit the table. Obviously I'll try and find some way of reflecting in the title what the nature of the reading is like. So if you're looking for something specific like love or career or that sort of thing, you'll be able to gauge whether this is the right message for you. In that vein, once I start pulling the cards, if you're finding that they're not resonating with you, don't try and make them fit. The message is clearly not for you this time. It may be next time. There may be someone out there who needs a little more assistance than you do right this second, and they'll be the people whose energy I'm picking up on. That said, if you're not resonating with message, it might be worth checking out the videos for your moon and rising signs, because at times we shimmer along with that energy more than we do with our sun sign. The sun sign is a sliver of your full natal chart, and your natal chart is what makes you you, and that's comprised of many different placements. So it's worth a look. I can be reached for a personal reading at the email address will be in the description box below. I am building a website, but it's not live yet. Once it is live, then you'll be able to book directly through there. For now, it's just the email, though. scorchedearth@scorchedearth.tarot@gmail.com. So, I think that's all the admin stuff out of the way. First card we have is Judgment, Cancer, Major Arcana. It's far too many cards. That one again, Cancer, July. How wonderful. I have the Two of Cups. It's Cups energy, so it's water, so it's you. You right in the middle of your reading is what I like to see. And then the final card for Cancer. Knight of Swords. I'm using the Llewellyn deck, by the way, if you're interested. Right. I'm going to pull a few more cards to help us interpret the individual cards, and then by that point there should be some sort of narrative coming through that we can follow. So the first card out of the deck is the Tower. It's a clarified judgment. It's Major Arcana 2. It's a card of Scorpio. Tower and Judgment together are quite intense. Cancer. With the Six of Pentacles, Earth energy. About balance and fairness. So, let's get a card from the Two of Cups. Why is that here for Cancer for the month of July? There's the Three of Wands, fire. There's the two, oh my god, these cards are just leaping. There was too many. So, why is the Two of Cups here for Cancer for July? Wonderful. We have the Two of Cups from a different deck, clarifying the Two of Cups. So there's a partnership that's of some import. I'm going to pull another card for that one, simply because it's clarified it twice. It's appeared twice, but it hasn't actually explained what it means. And there's the Two of Cups here. Five of Wands in reverse. And so finally we have the Knight of Swords. It's the Knight of Swords here. Cancer for the month of July. We have the Eight of Swords in reverse. Good, that's the way I like to see that card. And we have the Page of Wands, which seems like an entirely appropriate card to go after the 8. The base of the deck, we've got the Ten of Cups, which is about complete emotional fulfillment. So the first card we have in your reading here is Judgment. And if we look at the card a little closer so you can see it there. Yeah. We have these people, and they are dead. There's no doubt about that. We have this chap here, blowing this horn. And he's resurrecting. It's Judgment Day. It's the day of reckoning. Today these souls find out whether they are worthy of entering. You know. If you can hear screeching, I apologise. My teenage son is shouting at people on the internet. I understand it's a common pastime with teenagers nowadays. Judgment is, because Judgment talks about resurrection, it's quite often a card of second chances. It's about bringing back something that you thought was finished, ended, completed, and having another go at it. Now, that's a completely value neutral meaning. It doesn't indicate from the card itself whether going backwards, returning to something is a good idea or a bad idea. It certainly counsels neither way. It just tells you that you're thinking about it. And although I've looked at these cards lots and lots of times, I'm looking at this card right now, and what my eye is being drawn to is the fact that there are two people lying here as dead, waiting to be resurrected. So I think there are two people. One of them is you, and one of them is someone else, who you're both having the same thoughts about picking something back up that you thought you were done with. Now, this could be a romantic relationship, and certainly the fact that we've got the Ten of Cups as the shadow card, so it's emotional fulfillment, would support that. And we also have the Two of Cups, and that would support it too. But also the Two of Cups is partnership of any description. So that could be somebody that you go into business with. It could be, you know, someone who you volunteer with at a soup kitchen. You know, it's two people coming together for a common purpose, whether that common purpose is love or to achieve something, or any of those things. That's what it's bear in mind. And I see the two here on this card. You're both having the same thought. It's clarified by the Tower. This is the card of Scorpio. If ever a card well summed up a sign, it's the Tower for Scorpio. They really love to throw a grenade in a room and then sit back and survey. Anyway, no shade on Scorpios. I actually adore Scorpio. But they can't escape what they are. So, there are two people falling out of the Tower on this card. There are two people in the Judgment card, and there are two people on this card here. And I think this clarifier is saying that whatever it is that the pair of you are thinking about bringing back, whatever it was, it ended very abruptly the first time round. And both of you fell out of a window about it. Neither of you escaped unscathed. Like, there's a man and there's a woman here, but the gender of whoever you're dealing with isn't necessarily important at all. You're both falling out and you're both going to land on your heads. You both sustained damage from this previous situation. I'm going to refer to it as a relationship, simply because that's easier. But don't infer from that that I necessarily mean romantic relationship. I will make that distinction if I feel that that's the case. Just a relationship as in the interaction of two people. So, two people. Indeed, thinking about bringing something back, and two people whose building that they thought was so very strong got hit by lightning and literally flung them from the tower to the rock and the ice beneath. It was sudden. It was explosive. It didn't just steadily die off. This was a big hoo-ha. And the next card we have is the Six of Pentacles. Okay. And there are two people here. Maybe they're the same two people who fell out of the tower here. I've noticed in the background, but there's a tower just to the side of this person here, in the background there. So mayhap they are the same people. And in falling out of the tower, they fell upon hard times, and they had to throw themselves upon the mercy of someone who was in a position to help them. And this is a Pentacles card, so it can talk about money. It can talk about things. But whatever the situation is, there is lack here and there is excess here. And in his hands, the man is holding some scales. And he is restoring balance by transferring his excess to those who are in more need than he. So, the next card is the Two of Cups. And that's the card of union. It's the card of partnership. You know, despite it being potentially any kind of relationship, they are holding cups. So there's a certain level of emotional investment in the partnership, and whether that's directed exactly between the people or toward what it was that they partnered up to deal with, if it was in a business sense or something like that, is not entirely clear. But whatever it is, it was important. So there is an emotional attachment. And they're both intertwined around each other. And there's a caduceus above them, and this winged lion, which is really pretty cool. And I feel like this situation is an extension of the first card, particularly the first card, rather than the clarifiers. So here is these two men, women, bodies, looking to resurrect something. And I think while they're there, lying, wherever they are, this is what they're dreaming of. They're not thinking about how it went down. So that's you, and this is the other person. Neither of you are giving particular emphasis in your thinking to that. You're both dreaming of this here. And for me, that's borne out by the fact that that 2 appears again, literally to clarify that 2. It's a really strong dream. And the card to clarify it, the first card to clarify it is the 3 of Wands. And the 3 of Wands is, well, 3's a creation. 2 is inner and 3 is outer. 2 is planning, it's internal, it's thinking about how you're going to make this thing happen. And 3 is actually putting that out there. It's putting it out into the universe to make it happen. In which case, I think that you two, whilst you might not have necessarily been in contact for a while, you're back in contact now. And you're putting things in place. If not already have them in place. To resurrect this beautiful 2 of Cups moment that you're after. It's really lovely, like the ones are fertile. You see how they're growing leaves. You know, that's not dead wood. That's growth there. And then we have the 2 of Cups. And I feel like the point of the 2 of Cups here is just to emphasize how very fucking important to you this relationship is. I mean, it's important enough to have come up in the main part of your read, but then to be clarified again by the same card. Increases exponentially the level of importance that I would subscribe to it. So what this card has that this card does not, and they are effectively the same picture more or less, they're just reimagined, you know. But what this card does have, I've just noticed, is a little house there. You see it? It's nestled up in the hill there with the red roof. It's a single point of focus that sits between you, and it's solid and stable because it's a house. And it's up on the hillside, so you can see out over the fields down the hill really, really nicely, but it is also sheltered by trees. And I feel like this is a point of union for you two. And whether that is somewhere that you meet together to thrash out how this is going to occur, You know, it's kind of tucked away as well, like you're not going to be disturbed there. And we do have some wands. So, perhaps it's a place for surreptitious meeting, whatever one does with wands. Yes, so pull my mind out of the gutter, it's fine. But maybe it's, if you leave that aside, maybe you're thinking about moving in together. Maybe you're thinking about taking something on, something that's under one roof. But at the moment, not many people know about it. Like it's definitely underway, it's definitely being discussed. But it's still half hidden. Like only the chosen few know its location. And then you've got the Five of Wands in reverse there. When it's the right way up, the Five of Wands talks of, well, they're fighting. They're clearly fighting there. But what's not clear from the cards is whether there's any actual malicious intent in the fighting that's going on here. They're fighting with wands, they're not fighting with knives or swords, rather. You know, they'd have to try really, really hard to maim or to wound with these sticks, these wands, in a way that would be very easy with the swords. So they're not fighting to the death. But are they play fighting? Is this just a little show of machismo here, and actually there's possibly some ladies over here marvelling at their manly prowess with with their wand. Who knows? But it's petty, generally. That's the feeling I get from this. It's petty. It's bickering. It's sniping. It's not really serious. It's 5, so it is about conflict, and it's about change, and it's about being made to feel uncomfortable. But there's no real animosity in the Five of Wands. It's kind of a good descriptor for those snipey, bickery arguments that, you know, couples have. But the important thing is that it appeared in the reverse. And this feels like it's a resolution, a resolve of both of you to stop doing what you did before. Whatever it was that happened that brought the tower of your relationship crashing down to the ground, which left you two in a state of disarray and lack, whether that was actual pecuniary lack or, you know, emotional lack, or just an inability to administer proper self-care. There's a conscious decision between the pair of you to cease that kind of behaviour. And that's really heartwarming, actually. I mean, so far, what I'm seeing here is learning of lessons, is maturing and growth. And that always warms the cockles of my heart, I have to say. With the caveat that I already said that I didn't think either of you were particularly focusing on what it was that brought your tower down. And it's going to take more than thwacking the tower with some wands to drop that. You're going to need some proper jet fuel to melt these steel beams, yo. So now I'm potentially a little concerned that you've focused on the small stuff Because like the Tower's Major Arcana, right? That shit is huge. Whatever has been built on foundations that are unstable will be pulled to the fucking ground, and you have to rebuild. This is the Five of Wands. The only structure that that's going to knock down is like a house of straw. The final card you've got there is the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords is probably the first really practical card that you have on the table, aside from the Six. But it's the Six of Pentacles occurred when you were not in a state to be able to deal with practicalities yourself. But the Knight of Swords is about it's very active, it's very doing. He's a communicator. The entirety of the One suit is about communication. It's about a lot of things, but communication is absolutely vital. And sometimes it can be harsh communication, and sometimes it can be truth that is very cutting. There's very little about Sword Suit that sugarcoats anything. But in your case, and in this reading, and I'm noting that the card is very blue. I don't know if that's turning out blue on the screen there, but it's kind of blue. And I'm seeing a lot of blue from all of these cards. See, the shades are all slightly different, but the blues are relatively uniform. He's not a king, the Knight of Swords, so he's not a master communicator. He's not a queen, and she too is not only a master communicator, you know, a high-level communicator. She's also got a bullshit detector that's off the fucking radar. Like, neither of those cards have appeared. What you've got is the Knight, and the Knight is the step down from those two, but a step up from the page, and the page is clumsy and tactless sometimes. He's in a rush. He's the fastest knight in the deck. Everything about this card screams movement. The horse is white. It symbolises innocence. So the intent from both of you is very pure. But he's, like, as these cards lie on the table, he's rushing. He's rushing to the Two of Cups. He's not taking his time. He's not plodding his way down there. He's rushing there. And maybe you're being counselled that this is a little too quickly. The message is to slow down a little bit. Sorry, I got lost in thought for a second. There's a link between these two cards, and I'm just shuffling things around in my head to work out what it is. And this is petty arguments and squabbles and snarking and bickering. But it's only with wands. This guy's got a big old fucking sword. And he's got armour on, he's got a horse this time. And he's rushing towards your partnership. And swords can hurt. Like, you two may have resolved not to do this silly stuff anymore. You know, you've realised the importance of communication. But in sharpening up your communication skills, and the leap from the 5 to the knight is quite spectacular, actually. So you've obviously upped your communication game, and that is admirable. That's absolutely, everybody should be fucking working on the communication skills all the time, because actually most people are really bad at it. But so, as the level of communication skill has increased, so the tools with which that is delivered have become increasingly more dangerous to wield. Does that make sense? So now, if you two butt heads, it's not going to be because one of you hit the other one over the head with a stick. It's because one of you is going to run into the other one with a fucking horse. Maybe both of you have horses, maybe both of you have armour and swords. And what you've got there is a Battle of the Bastards level clash. If you have watched Game of Thrones, you know what I mean. That scene on the battlefield where everything just crunches into each other. And you're running the possibility of leaving yourself in an even more damaged state. Than you were before, maybe. I don't know. It's clarified by the 8 of Swords in reverse, which is great, because the 8 of Swords upright is about being stuck in your own fucking head. It's like there's no stronger cage than the one that we build in our own mind when we tell ourselves we can't do something. You know, whether you believe you can do something or whether you believe you can't, you are right in both instances. It's kind of a card of that. You know, there's no actual danger here for her, but she thinks there is. And so she will stay there. Because better the devil you know. She's standing there, she knows exactly where she is. Like, don't move. Everything will be okay. When it's reversed, it's the other way around. Like, those swords fall. Blindfold falls off. It's about being no longer trapped in your own mind. And that would go very nicely with the Knight of Swords, implying an increase in communication skills. Because when you're in this state and you're challenged, you're always going to react from a place of fear, always, because you don't know where you are and what you're doing. You just don't feel safe. When someone attacks you, you're gonna react. When it's this way up, you're coming out of this state. Like whatever blockages left you in there in the first place, you've cleared them. And that's great. That really is. And this is more of this kind of energy here. card after is the Page of Wands. He's a bit naive, but he's full of childish excitement about starting something new, going off and exploring. You know? He can be a messenger, because his job is literally as an envoy. That's what he does. He goes off and he delivers messages from more important people than he. But in the trade-off for him is that in the doing of that activity, he actually get to see the world and he'll get to meet important people, and he will learn by his experiences, and the thought of that is tremendously exciting for the Page. There's just one thing missing from here, and I'm not entirely sure what it is. Because it's quite clear what we've got is a past person, past partnership of some description that ended very abruptly and dramatically and left both of you changed after. And not only did it leave you changed, but you had to start from a very low point to build yourself back up again. Now you have built yourself back up again. You two want to pull it back together. And you're very much on the same page. Like you are on the same page. Twice. And you're planning. And there's the little building that is of significance. It's a white building with a red roof. Just saying. And you're letting go of the petty shit. So, what is the message of the Knight of Swords? What is Leo always telling Cancer? We've got Five of Wands in reverse. Again, like it's a different deck. It's literally just flown out of the deck and fucking in reverse. So that message again is super important. Don't allow yourself to sink to this squabbly behaviour. Why is the Knight of Swords here? Pisces. I keep saying Pisces, I mean Cancer. Okay, so we've got the horned one. And the horned one is about, like, excess. Like things that are fun that are done too much. And maybe the things that are fun, maybe one of you likes indulging in something which makes you a little bit fucking argumentative. And that's where the clashing occurs. Like, it could be drink, it could be drugs, it could be, you know, whatever things people use to self-medicate often. So, with it coming out in reverse again and then being followed by this, it's like, don't argue about this. Don't cause arguments by doing this. Sort your priorities out. Like, there's so much growth here in this reading. Cancer. Yeah, well, I've got strength. It's the card of Leo. Right, actually also that's the card of Capricorn, so maybe you're a Leo and a Capricorn, I don't know. That's just a possible interpretation, don't take it as gospel. But if one of you is struggling and does something a little bit too much, whether that's like in the pub too much, taking too many drugs, doing anything, watching porn too much, like anything that you enjoy is fine in moderation. For the most part, you do it too much and then it becomes a problem, and that's when you're going to cause arguments. So don't cause the arguments by doing these things. And maybe there's a little bit of strength needed not just from the person with the problem, but from the person supporting it. It's supporting someone who is struggling with something is hard work in and of itself. But you've got the strength to do it. Both of you actually have the strength to do it. And if it's for the sake of this, which you both clearly find so important, heal. It's Temperance. It's the card of Sagittarius. And she's about healing. So your knight here, the one that I just had to pull these extra cards from because I wasn't really understanding the message that he was trying to deliver. It's an honest, true message. It might be a little bit sharp and it might hurt a little bit, but it's for your highest good. The intent is true. Like, one of you, potentially both of you, have issues that need addressing, and maybe all of that is kind of what brought the tower down in the first place, because that doesn't do anything. Well, you know, hitting things with sticks doesn't bring down towers. A bit of bickering doesn't bring down a relationship unless the bickering is a cover. You know, like, I think when you have petty arguments with people, it's rarely about the thing that you're arguing about. The reason that it becomes such a big thing is because actually, although you may be arguing about whose turn it is to do the dishwasher, or the fact that somebody didn't take the fucking bins out, the bit of communication that you're missing there is the bit where you communicate all of the other stuff that's sitting behind that statement. You didn't empty the bins today. What you're trying to say behind it is, I do all the housework. I really hate doing housework. It makes me really sad, particularly since there are two grown-ass adults living in this house, and I'm the only one who takes any kind of care of it. You get to do what you want all of the time, and you don't value me or my ability to spend my time doing things that I like too, as much as your own, it seems. What say you? And the person will go, shit, I had no idea you felt like that. I really did intend to do the bins. I genuinely just forgot about it. I will make more of an effort in future to do this thing. Like, this is a massively simplified example, but I believe you probably take my point. One of you, both of you, whichever applies, you've got demons, and they're gonna bring the tower energy back to you unless you vanquish them. And you've got the strength to do it, and that applies to both of you. Whether or not it's both of you or one of you that has the issue, both of you will need the strength to be able to deal with that, because supporting is hard, underrated, undervalued, takes a lot out of you. But you both have this. And Temperance, it's healing, and it's beautiful, absolutely stunning. Your knight is rushing in with the truth for you, and he's rushing towards your Two of Cups because he's desperately trying to save what may fall if he doesn't. Pretending problems don't exist does not eradicate the problem. It's so simple when stated like that it makes me sound simple. But it's true, and it's honestly slightly horrifying just how many people would rather put their head in the sand, because if they can't see the problem, then it's not there. I've been guilty of it myself. I have to say, nowadays, I tend to headbutt things rather than bury my head in the sand. Like, I will hit those problems based on a bit of a blunt instrument, in fact. Probably a little too communicative for my own good, but I'm never in that position where I'm talking at cross purposes with someone else, because my communication game is like off the chart, you know. Talk to each other. Be vulnerable with each other. There's a vulnerability there. There's vulnerability there. If you want to be together, if you really want to make this work, acknowledge that there's a problem. Don't start lobbing blame around. Start looking at practical solutions to fix it, and then support each other. Make that happen. You know, it's the most wonderful act of love that you can do someone. Like, I think being there for someone in their time of need is an honour, it's a gift. And I say that as someone who doesn't really throw themselves upon the good graces of others. You know, please help me and stuff like that. I'm very I'm very independent and do things myself. But if I do ask someone for help, if I am in truly so much need that I need to go outside of myself for support, then that is a gift to the person that I've gone to. Because it means trust. And it means I am cracking myself open and being vulnerable at that person in my deepest time of need. And you don't do that with people that are not worthy of that. So honour it, whichever side of that equation that you sit on, honour it. If someone's coming to you and being vulnerable, don't hit them over the head with it. I fucking told you you had a problem. Why didn't you fucking listen to me 6 years ago when everything started to go wrong before? No. Equally, if you have someone in your life that you trust enough to be able to say, or that loves you enough, that when you go to them and you say, I have a problem, and they go, what can I do to help? Like, that's a gift as well. Like, don't overlook it. Don't underplay it. Those things are huge. And there's love here. There's so much love here. It seems such a shame to let it go by the wayside because of a lack of communication. And this is what this whole reading boils down to. You know, and the devil doesn't have to be drink or drugs or, you know, stimulants of any description. Like, it's literally a thing that you do too much. It could be as simple as sitting on your fucking PS4 all day and not taking the bins out, or it could be full-blown fucking heroin addiction, and literally everything in between. You know, it's it's up to you to fill in the blanks, whatever that means to you. If this reading is for you, then you will fucking know it already, I guess. The result is the Three of Cups. Celebration. You're moving from the 2 to the 3. You evolve your relationship. Step 2. Step 3. You take that shit up a notch. It's beautiful. And that's your choice when it comes down to it. You're sitting at the 2. You go up to the 3, or you come down to the Tower. That's where you're at. And this knight here, yeah, he's fucking charging in so fucking fast. Don't fuck it up, don't fuck it up, don't fuck it up. That's what he's saying. Because communication is at the root here of your issues. Communication and trust. And you have the trust. You don't know how to communicate it. That's the problem. Wow. Kind of a little bit in awe of that relationship. It's beautiful. If you're comfortable talking about it and you want to talk about it in the comments, then feel free. You're totally all about that shit. If you're not comfortable, if it did resonate and you're not comfortable talking about it, just like hide me a like or whatever, just so I know that I reached someone that needed to hear that. And best of luck, because you don't need luck. You just need to take it one step at a time. And it'll be awesome. Alright, I'll see you next month, Cancer.